Hello, everybody. Welcome to my talk. I hope you're all well. And for the next 30-40 minutes, I will be talking about spiritual warfare, being under psychic attack, and also what to do about it. My name is Suki Klair, and I am an intuitive medium, psychic, angel card reader, a Rahani healing practitioner, and also a person centered counselor. One of the many hats that I wear. This for the next 30-40 minutes, I hope to be discussing the through personal experience, what my experience has been over the last couple of weeks on what is most commonly known as a psychic attack. As an intuitive and as an empathetic person, I'm very sensitive to the energies out there. Anybody who works with energy work, who works in the spiritual field, who works in a caring profession, who works in any sort of industry or job where you are dealing with people's emotions, you are most certainly an empathetic person who's open to soaking in the energies and the negative impact of other people's emotions. You are like a sponge. And when you are taken on board all of these negative energies, sometimes what happens is you get what we call an attachment. You get what is commonly known as a psychic attack. Psychic attack can be sent by somebody who is thinking ill will of you or sending you negative thoughts, or just you can be your light. As a spiritual being, your light can attract a negative entity that is just attracted to you. And when you have not got your defenses up, when you haven't got your protection up, that negative energy and entity can attract itself to you, attach itself to you. Let me just explain to you what spiritual warfare is and what I mean about spiritual warfare. Although spiritual warfare and psychic attack are two completely different things, the psychic attack and the impact it has on you is under the umbrella of psychic warfare. Spiritual warfare, shall we say, sorry. So spiritual warfare is, in a nutshell, the battle between good and evil, Satan and Jesus, if you want to give it a religious concept. But it's at the moment, it is very much a war that is going on for our very well-being, our very souls, our very spirit. There is a lot of negative energy out there, manifested in the current situation with COVID-19. You can say that is a type of spiritual warfare that we are under, the manifestation of fear that we are feeling as a result of the situations from the lockdowns that we are experiencing at the moment. We are also finding a great sense of disillusionment with people around us, with authorities, with a lot of different scenarios and situations where normally we wouldn't pay much attention to. We are being bombarded at the moment with psychological warfare, with the stuff that we are watching on TV, on the news, the radio we are listening to. It just feels at the moment that we are drowning under all of this negative stuff, and there doesn't seem to be a breathing space for us. And on top of that, if you do not keep on top of your self-care, on looking after yourself from a spiritual perspective, you are a prime target for a negative attachment or a psychic attack. Let me speak to you about my own personal experience over the last couple of weeks, because I think I fell into this trap of being involved in looking after everybody else as a medium, as a angel card reader, as a healer, and a counselor, and my other job that I do on a day-to-day basis. I'm dealing with negative emotions. It doesn't seem to be feels like the sun doesn't shine anymore. There's no sense of joy. There's no sense of happiness. There's no sense of hope at the moment out there. And when you are dealing with people's emotions, when they are in that depressive state, and you are not looking after yourself, you are not protecting yourself, you are not putting yourself in a safe place within your energy field, you can, as I said, you're like a sponge to these energies. So what happened to me over the last couple of weeks, which manifested itself, was I started to feel not myself. In a nutshell, that's what I would say the heading of all the symptoms that I was getting. I just wasn't feeling like me. We know as individuals, as people, who we are, what makes us tick, what buttons people can press when we feel like we are aggrieved, or when somebody angers us, when something makes us laugh, when something makes us sad, when really something disturbs us. But there's another level of emotional distress and feelings of anxiety and stress that you can go through when you are under a psychic attack. That psychic attack, as I said, can be somebody sending you negative thoughts, or simply the way that you work, where you are soaking up all of this negative energy. I started to feel a few weeks back off kilter, not myself. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm just a bit stressed out because of the work that I do. Maybe I need a break. I've been working too hard. I haven't been sleeping very well. I haven't been eating very well either. And I was having really weird dreams as well. I'm usually quite a heavy sleeper. Once I'm in bed, that's it. The position I go to sleep in is the position I wake up. So, but I was having really bad, disturbing dreams, and these dreams were all around arguments, drama, war, anger, shouting, people attacking me. And in my dreams, they were random people and family members, I'd wake up and thinking, what on earth is going on? So my sleep pattern was disturbed for many weeks. My emotional barometer was all over the place. I was 1 minute I felt a sense of complete abandonment and sadness and anger, a complete sense of loss of hope. I started to put these feelings down to perhaps being a sensitive. I was picking up the feelings of my clients, or I was picking up the feelings that were out there, and I was just maybe extra sensitive at the moment because of the intense energies that are out there at the moment. I started to have physical symptoms, which were complete exhaustion, physical exhaustion, mental exhaustion, and emotional exhaustion. I was crying at the most random things. For example, I put too much sugar in my tea, and that brought on a whole raft of tears and emotional distress, just because I put a bit too much sugar in my tea, which is totally random, totally not like me. And again, I put it down to stress. I put it down to the fact that things had been very on the go constantly for quite a few months, and maybe I was just a bit run down. So, and it's the usual excuses that we make for ourselves. We know that we are under stress. We know that we're not feeling on top of things, but we put it down to this or that situation, or that relationship issue, or that toxic situation around us, or the stress at work, etc., etc. I had this sense of I was heading into a deep depression. But I would say I'm not a depressive person. I'm quite an upbeat, positive person. I started to feel quite low. I was getting nothing done, a sense of nothingness. I was just in this prison, this straitjacket, where I felt like I couldn't move. My mind was completely disabled. I had no motivation to do anything. Even my sense of self-care was really slipping. What's the point? These thoughts started to creep in. What is the point? What's the point of me being here? What's the point of me trying every day to get out of bed when nothing changes? Nothing's changed in this last month, in this last year. So all of these negative thoughts started to really amplify in my mind. I was starting to think about, well, if you just have a drink, that will make you feel better. I'm not a drinker. I haven't drank for 20, 30 years. I was never a big drinker. I was very much a social drinker, and my absolute limit was one glass or maximum two. And I knew my limits. All of a sudden, I was thinking, oh, just have a little glass of Prosecco or some white wine or red wine, or why don't you go down to the shop and get this, that, and the other? And I started to think, well, that's not like me. That's not like me to crave alcohol. Again, I started to make excuses. Maybe it's because, I was having a stressful time at work, and as I've already explained all the other reasons, I was giving myself excuses for feeling the way I was feeling. Again, not fully understanding what was going on. Out of character behaviors, that was out of character for me. And then my eating habit, shall I say, in the last few weeks is I'm not a big meat eater. I'm sort of semi-vegetarian going on to possibly veganism, but I'm not a big meat eater. I was craving chunks of meat every day. I was going to the shop and I was getting a steak, I was getting this, I was getting that. And as I said, I'm not a big meat eater. That is not my normal habit. That is not my normal eating habit. Feeling totally off. That's the one thing that I can really say, that I was just really not feeling myself. And all of these behaviors, all of these manifestations of out of character thoughts really got me thinking, until I thought, okay, I know it's not me. I know I'm feeling off. I started to tick all the little boxes off on the things that it might be this, it might be work, it might be relationships, it might be family issues, it might be this, that, and the other. And I started to tick them all off and saying, really connect with myself and saying, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right. It's not that, it's not that, and it's not that. When I ticked them all off my list, and other things that unusual behaviors that you could exhibit yourself, out of character behaviors, is, for example, watching horror movies, watching negative images on the TV or on your tablet, or watching negative films. Horror movies are one of the biggest negative films that you can watch. Thoughts of promiscuity, behaviors that you wouldn't normally do. You think, what? Why am I behaving like this? That was my first. That's the when you have that question in your mind, why am I behaving like this? When you know this is not you, this is when you should start considering, am I under some sort of psychic attack? When you are under psychic attack, you basically switch off, because the other energy takes over, the other energy becomes you, the other energy starts to build your life the way it wants to. And when you start doing things and saying things and behaving in a way that is not you, and you know it's not you, then this is when you need to sit down and really have a look at, when did it start? For example, when did you start to feel off kilter? When did you start to feel not yourself? It may not be identifiable on a particular day, but you can sort of look at around about a time frame. My next question to myself was, what did I stop doing that I normally do, which may have helped this negative entity, this negative energy, to attach itself to me? And when I looked back around a month as to what was going on in my life, there was a couple of things that really stood out to me. First of all, I stopped slowly sliding down and stopped caring about my spiritual energy, protecting myself. I wasn't doing it on a regular basis that I should have been doing. I'm quite particular in a sense of protection. When I speak about protection, what do I mean about protection? Protection is about protecting your energy from negative entity, shall we say. It's asking the angels to step in. It's asking your ancestors, the ascended masters, to put a protection around you too. So when you are working with low vibrational energy, your own vibration is not being infected by the low vibrational energy. If you don't know, you can look at the Saint Germain Violet Flame protection. You can look at mantras. You can look at music to use as a sense of protection. But all protection is a very basic protection is to put yourself in light, whether it's the golden flame, violet flame that you put yourself in a bubble in, or whether it's the Christ light, the golden light, the white light. It's all about light. It's all about bringing light into your energy and making and keeping and protecting yourself. It's a bit like you get up in the morning and you put your face on, you brush your teeth, and you put your shoes on, and you walk out the front door, but you haven't put any clothes on. This is what protection is. It's about putting that cloak around you so that your energy is protected and you are protected from any infestation of negativeness that might be coming at you from all sorts of directions. And for you to feel that I've got my cloak on, I'm in this energy. And throughout the day, especially if you are working in an industry or you are surrounded by toxic relationships or you are surrounded by low vibrational energies, it is a way for you to be Teflon coated, shall we say, from these energies. Keeping your thoughts positive. So one of the things I noticed is I stopped doing my protection bubble. I didn't have time to do my clearing, and this is clearing of my energy. So at the end of the day, when you're about to go to bed and you tune into yourself and you look at your energy around you, is there anything there that needs a good clear out? Playing some nice relaxing music, doing a meditation, finding a time during the day to ground yourself. Grounding is simply barefoot walking on the earth, connecting with nature. This is grounding yourself. All of this stuff is free. It doesn't cost anything. It just costs your time. And if you haven't got time for you, then nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody else is going to put that protection around you or ground you or cleanse your energy or clear your center your chakra systems, which are your energy points in your body. All of these things are really important. And I noticed that when I started to feel off, again, one of the physical symptoms I was having was there was this cold patch in my back between my shoulder blades that I just couldn't shift. I couldn't shift it with a heated blanket. I couldn't shift it with a hot water bottle, with hot baths. There was just this cold spot that was there that was draining me. Physical exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, just absolutely just puff just went out of me. So that was some of the things that I stopped to do because I felt like, okay, I'll do it in a minute, and that minute never came. And that went on for a couple of days, that went on for a couple of weeks, and a couple of weeks went into a month. So what do you expect when you are, and again, looking back, I'm kicking myself. Am I not important? Yes, I am. The work that I do is when I'm a support network for other people, I have to be a support network for myself as well. It is important for you to support yourself more than anything else before you even go out to support other people. It's that old saying, you cannot pour from an empty glass. And I'd got to the point where I was an empty glass. So I'm not surprised that I got this attack. I'm not surprised that I had this negative energy attached to me. I'm not surprised that it managed to burrow itself into my energy because I wasn't looking after myself. So what can I do? So I know what happened to me. I figured out when it happened. I figured out how it was impacting me, simply by me thinking I just feel off. I just feel off. Working in the spiritual community, we literally are a community. I was getting phone calls and messages from friends who were saying, "Are you okay?" Again, denying the fact that I wasn't okay, but still putting a mask on, putting that happy face on, saying, "Yes, I'm fine, don't worry about it," still carrying on doing what I was doing. But the more I did my energy work, the more I pushed myself on a day-to-day basis to continue as normal, to pretend nothing was going on. Oh, I'll get back to myself maybe tomorrow, or I'll feel better when I wake up tomorrow, or next week, etc., making excuses. So you and I really had to sit down, because by this point, after about a month, I really felt ill, physically ill. I really felt as if I was totally like the Walking Dead, shall we say, totally not myself. So I picked up the phone and spoke to a couple of people and got a diagnosis of what was going on with me. Now, this is not the same as you having physical symptoms and going to your consultant, going to your doctor, getting a medical treatment. Please don't use this um, information that I'm giving you as an excuse for you not to get seen by the medical professionals. Everything has its place. But one of the things that a lot of people tend to disregard, or not even think about, or not even consider is, am I under some sort of psychic attack? So when I spoke to some of my friends, and oh bless them, they were. This is where you get the help and support. This is where when you are building relationships, when you are building communities, when you know where to go to, not just the my local GP or consultant or health center. When you have a broad range of holistic therapies, people who are in industries and people who are in services which are of the spiritual nature. I'm the type of person that I like to explore different modalities. Being a healer and being a counselor and a psychic medium, I know that there is much more out there than we can ever envisage in our tiny little human minds. We don't even know 0.1% of what is out there. We think our five senses are it. That's it. There is so much more. So when I sat here and I thought, okay, I've got to bring in my guides, I've got to bring in the ascended masters, the angels. As a Rahani healer, these are the energies that we work with. And again, they just confirmed what I was feeling. But you might ask, if I'm under psychic attack and they're supposed to be there to be looking after me, why didn't they stop it? It's not their responsibility. They are there to help guide us and to give us the support, but we are responsible for ourselves. And one of the things I didn't do, I didn't take responsibility for myself at the time that I should have been doing, by doing the things that I knew would keep me protected, saying my protection prayers in the morning and throughout the day when I was starting to feel a bit drained, because you've got to keep topping it up if you are working in energy work and you are an empath and you are sensitive to energies. This is doubly important, even more doubly important because of what is going on out there with the COVID-19 situation, all the fear that's building up, all the energies that people are expressing through that fear. You are like a magnet for those energies. So, which is why it is even more important to keep yourself grounded, to keep in touch with nature, to spend some real time self-caring and clearing your energies, cleansing your energies, and being mindful of your thoughts, being mindful of the people that you have around you, being mindful of who you are interacting with, but also what you're taking away. What are you taking away from them? What are they sending to you? As I said, when you do have these fundamental basic practices, you've got to make yourself Teflon coated from the spiritual energies that are out there. So after I had a psychic clearing of my energies and to have the attachment removed, and again, this is specialist work. You wouldn't go to your plumber and asking for brain surgery. You just don't do that. So you go to the individuals and the people who know what they are doing, who know how to deal with these energies, and they have the support network with their guides and their the spiritual energies that they work with, who are there to help support that person who does that work. I, for one, will no way say that I am somebody who's able to detach a negative energy from someone. That's just not my expertise. That's just not my experience. That's just not my purpose, shall we say. I leave it to the ones who know how to do it. And I'm so grateful and thankful that the individuals that I have around me, that they were picking up that energy from me as well. So so my guys were sending them messages and saying, okay, you need to ring Suki because she's not in a good place. Even though I was pretending I was okay as normal, as I do, and as a lot of us do, because we're very bad at asking for help. So swallow your pride, Suki, pick up the phone and ask for help, which is what I did. So after the energy clearing that I had, and one of the things that I was really experiencing was severe headaches, and it's like I wanted to just rip my head off. I wanted to take my head off. And the way that the psychic healer explained it to me was that I was being attacked, physically attacked, and I was feeling the physical manifestation of that psychic attack, which at the time when you are going through it, you don't understand what's happening. You put it down to other reasons. And that's what I was doing, putting it down to other reasons. Maybe I had used a different shampoo that which was causing me to itch. Maybe I was having an allergy against something. And these are all sensible and general things that you can give reasons for certain behaviors. But like I said, there is more to expand your thinking, expand your energy, expand your knowledge, and say, okay, maybe it may not be that, but I'll still look at it. I'll still go to a dietitian. I'll still go to the chemist, but I'm going to look at that as well. So the psychic clearing occurred. And after the psychic clearing occurred, one of the after effects of this psychic attack was that it brought up past traumas, it brought up past memories. And one of the days I literally spent disabled in an emotional crisis. And my personal emotional crisis was I was just in my bed and I was just crying. It's like I had lost my soulmate. I had lost somebody so dear to me that I couldn't function. That went on all day. Then again, I'd had a session booked with a friend of mine who's a hypnotherapist, and we went through my feelings. And the first half hour, I literally couldn't speak because I was just letting out this emotion, and it was just coming out of me like a tsunami. The minute I took a little breath, and the next wave would come, and I was just going through one tissue after another, and apologizing for me being a complete wreck. It felt like I was having a complete breakdown. In that hour, I was literally going through a breakdown, and not the nicest thing to go through, but at the same time a necessary thing to go through, because this was the aftermath, this was the fallout, this was the scar from the psychic attack. Because when you are under psychic attack, what happens is all of these negative emotions that you bury in your solar plexus, you bury deep down in you, it digs them up. It digs them up. It really empties the bucket of all of these memories that you have thrown into this bucket where you think, I'll deal with that later. Well, that later moment came then on this Wednesday evening. And while I was speaking to this hypnotherapist, and all of this stuff was coming out, and I was getting to the point where I was literally hyperventilating and completely drained, completely dehydrated. I didn't think I had any more water left in me for me to continue crying. That I might sound that little bit dramatic, but that's how I felt. And then all of a sudden, once all of this had expressed itself, because it has to come out, you have to express itself. Otherwise, if you keep it inside of you, it just manifests itself like a virus in your spiritual energy that just grows and grows and grows and gets stronger and stronger and stronger until it's much harder. And the journey is longer when you acknowledge that something is going on and you go and get help. Luckily for me, because I am an energy worker, I identified my feeling off what it was. And I got the help that I needed, and bless those beautiful souls for being there and connecting with me and communicating with me and literally knocking on my door and saying, we can feel something's not right. We can feel something's going on. Are you okay? And for me to having putting my whether you want to call it pride or ego to the one side, and saying, okay, I'm not Superwoman, there is something wrong and I can't understand it, but I know it's just I'm just feeling off. So once I had done that, I went to bed. And I took a week off work because I knew I wasn't functioning, and for me to be in that work situation would just intensify the way I was feeling even worse. So taking myself away from a toxic work environment, not in the people but in the work that I deal with, I took myself away from it, and I literally spent days doing nothing. The list of things to do in my head, I literally had to torch because that wasn't important. I was important. I put my needs first. I put my well-being first, and that was the the fundamentally the best thing I could have done in order for me to get through this, identify what was happening, do something about it. The fallout from this was after I had the psychic clearing and I had the energy healing work. And then I had the hypnotherapy session, which brought up, as I said, childhood energies, childhood memories, traumas, which I had to put to rest, put to peace, but better out than in, as we say. I was kicking myself afterwards, and I was like, I forgot to do the basics because I was so busy. I'll do it in a minute. I'll do it in a minute. And this is how you get trapped in this cycle of you missing your meals, you missing your meditations, you missing your cleansing, you missing your walks. Okay, I'll do an extra hour tomorrow because I missed today's walk and I missed yesterday's walk. That is not good. You have to have in your day-to-day practice something that you do to look after yourself. This is not that glass of wine that you have at the end of the day. Yes, it's not that sitting vegetating in front of the TV, watching your favorite soap opera. That is not looking after yourself. Fundamentally looking after yourself, clearing your energy is all about putting that protection up, grounding, having a walk in nature, clearing your energy, cleansing your energy, having a spiritual practice, whether it's meditation, whether it's mantra, having a sense of gratitude, an attitude of gratitude. Waking up in the morning and the first thing you do is you welcome the day. The last thing you do when you go to bed is you bless everybody that you have interacted in that day. Whether you think it was a good interaction or a bad interaction, you bless that energy. You say thank you for the experience, and going to bed with a clear conscience, a clear energy, and again, cleansing your energy at night before you go to sleep, and putting the protection up again, so that while you are in your sleep state and you are traveling where you are wherever you are going, you are protected. Okay, whatever works for you, make it a routine. As much as when you wake up in the morning and you brush your teeth and you're having that shower, putting your protection on, taking time out to take care of your physical needs. For example, the food that you are eating, the make sure you're drinking lots of water, keeping your physical body clear. As I said, one of the things that I was craving when I was under this psychic attack was meat. And I'm not a big meat eater. I very rarely eat meat, but I was having that protein every day, and I knew that was not like me. Again, when you are under psychic attack, your behaviors change. So when you know I'm doing something that I do not normally do, that is a red flag. What's going on? Asking yourself, why am I feeling like this? What did I forget to do? What do I need to do in order to get the right help, in order to cleanse this energy away from me? Being mindful of your thoughts. We all have off days. We all have days where, even being a spiritual person, sometimes you just think, I just want to punch that person in the face. Sorry, guys. But I'm being honest here. At the end of the day, it's allowing yourself to just go through that energy. We're human at the end of the day. We are here having an experience, and all of these rafts of emotions, we experience these emotions in order for us to learn from them. We cannot just focus on the light, because, as I mentioned at the beginning, there is a spiritual war going on. We have to acknowledge that there is a darkness around us as well. We have to acknowledge that there is a negative as much as there is a positive. There is light as well as darkness. And when we acknowledge that, and we recognize it and we understand it, that's when it makes us stronger, because we are not ignoring the other side. We are not pretending it doesn't exist. It does exist. And I found that out in the last couple of weeks, how strong it can be when you are under this psychic attack, when you are under this spiritual feeling part of this spiritual war that is going on. And why, especially as light workers, especially as empaths, especially as sensitive people, why it is so important for us to have a practice of well-being and self-care. You have an incredible power within you. You have this incredible divine light within you, which is craved by the negative forces, because they don't want you to shine. They don't want you to be out there helping people, shining that light into the darkness, shall we say. But again, whatever works for you. That was a valuable lesson I learned over these last couple of weeks. And I can sit here and say, so it was my fault. Well, it was my fault. I have to take self-responsibility for everything that I experienced. But what I experienced, I'm taking the positives out of it, because I'm sitting here now having this chat with you and explaining to you, this was my experience, this is why it happened, this is why it's so important for you guys not to make the same mistake, to bring in a sense of well-being into your day-to-day lives, whatever your situation is. And some of us are in some incredibly distressing situations. We have lost loved ones. We are fighting a pandemic at the moment. People are losing jobs. People are feeling afraid. There's a sense of loss of hope. And we have to work doubly harder as light workers to try and counteract all the fear and the negative energy that all of that brings up, and be a support network for people, and to be the helping hand for people. But we have to help ourselves first. We have to make sure that we give ourselves that state of importance, that I am important. I need to put my needs first above all, because if I'm not in a good space, if I am not in the right frame of mind, and I have been infected by a negative energy, a negative entity, and I'm feeling off kilter, I'm not feeling myself, how can I help anybody else? As I said, whatever works for you. And if you do would like information on ways that you can look after yourself, your spiritual well-being, then please contact me on my website, which is blue.orchid15@hotmail.com. I hope you've enjoyed our chat, and thank you for staying with me. God bless you. Keep safe and keep yourself protected. Take care.